Tuesday, November 1st, 2022. I call this public hearing of the Kingsland Independent School District to order. We'll have roll call. Joe Morales. Here. Martin Chapa. David Garcia. Here. Elizabeth Ramos. James Glusing. Here. Delma Salinas. Brian Kupal is here. Let the record show there is a quorum of board members present and that this meeting has been posted in accordance with Government Code Chapter 551, State of Texas Open Meetings Act. The Kingsland ISD Board of Trustees will conduct a public hearing to discuss the following. Consider appointing District of Innovation DOI Committee. Dr. Pettis.
Okay, so for if you look at the timeline that I provided on the PowerPoint, and we've shared this already on October the 4th, and then we shared it again on October the 18th, and we had a public hearing before that as well. To the board had voted to pursue the process of considering becoming a district of innovation. And let me see. So we had explained what a district of innovation is, and since this is a public hearing, we're able to have people come up and ask any clarifying questions. But if we look at the timeline, there it is. You look at November the 1st for today. Today, what we're doing is we're considering whether we are going to appoint a committee that will then start the process of looking at all the DOI parameters for a committee and any plans that may be out there. For those of you that don't know, a district of innovation plan, I guess you could say, allows a district some flexibilities that charter schools have. And they started that back in like 2015. We qualify now as a district who can pursue becoming a DOI, which is a district of innovation. And some of the flexibilities that it allows is it allows us to alter our calendar when currently we're only allowed to start the 4th Monday of August, just like any other traditional school. But if you become a district of innovation, then you have the flexibility to alter your calendar. If you don't become a district of innovation, then you must start no sooner than August, the 4th Monday in August. Some districts become districts of innovation and it asks for exemptions on like teaching certifications. Some of them do it for minutes, the amount of minutes that students have to attend school or provide instruction and how those minutes are allocated. So last time that we had our board meeting, you all gave us the authority to be able to start pursuing the process. So I went and I met with the DEIC committee, and I provided you all a list of the members that are on the DEIC committee. They consist of teachers, community members, business members, parents, and administrators, district staff as well. And because the reason I provided that is because many districts choose their DEIC to serve as a DOI committee. There's a lot of acronyms right now. Because the DEIC committees usually are the ones who advise the leadership and how we want to pursue certain items for the district. For example, the calendar. DEIC has been instrumental in providing suggestions and recommendations and plans for our instructional calendar for the past 2 years. So I would recommend that if we're going to appoint a DOI committee, that it would stem from the DEIC. So that's why I shared those names with you if you're interested. And really at this point, it's just opening it up to if anybody has any questions or concerns. I also met at Gillette Middle School for their faculty meeting, and I'm scheduled to meet at the other campuses for their faculty meetings to just explain this again and just allow myself to be there to answer any questions in case any staff had any questions. So far, people seem to, it seems to be pretty positive. I think every district around KISD is a DOI. The only reason we hadn't been able to is because we hadn't made the grade to be able to pursue it. You cannot be an F district in order to pursue DOI. And so we're definitely no longer that. And this is our opportunity to take advantage of something like this if a DOI committee decides to.
All right, this is in accordance with our timeline, our calendar required public hearing. Are there any comments from the board? Any comments from the public? If anyone would like to speak on behalf or against, or has any questions that need to be answered, now would be the time to come forward. If there are none, then we will adjourn this public hearing at 5:08 p.m. And the regular special board meeting will begin promptly at 5:30 p.m. We have 22-minute break. p.m. to Tuesday, November the 1st, 2022. I call the special meeting of the Kingsville Independent School District to order. We'll have a roll call. Joe Morales. Here. Martin Chapa. Here. David Garcia. Here. Elizabeth Ramos. James Glusing. Here. Delma Salinas. Brian Coupal is here. Let the record show there is a quorum of board members present and that this meeting has been posted in accordance with Government Code Chapter 551, State of Texas Open Meetings Act. We move now to the moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Not accept this flag, but pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one community.
Thank you. This meeting will be live video streamed at https:/ly/3srolqr. Move to item number 4, which is the adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda? Seconded by Mr. Chapa. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries 5-0. Item number 5, public participation, policy BED. Ms. Pettis, do we have anyone who signed up and wishes to address the board this evening? All right, we'll move now to item number 6, which is communication from administration. Item 6A is the superintendent's update. Dr. Pettis.
I just want to remind everyone that on Thursday, November the 3rd at 5:30, we're going to have a presentation on anti-bullying, and it'll be done by the mother of David from David's Law. David's Law was created a few years ago because of Maureen, that's her name. Her son passed away after being bullied. He committed suicide, and so she had a call to action, she and her family, and they've done a lot to help set these laws to help protect students from being bullied and give parents and students and schools some tools and resources to pursue anytime that they're being bullied. So I think this is kind of a call to action. It's a great time for all of us to get together at the Dome Thursday at 5:30. And so invite your fellow colleagues, your parents to join us so we can come together to try to solve this problem together.
Thank you, Dr. Pettis. We move now to item number 7, which is new business. 7A is discussion and possible action regarding the Veterans Day resolution. Dr. Pettis.
Good evening, Board President Coupal, Dr. Bettis, board members. Kingsville Independent School District honors all veterans and recognizes the importance of remembering those that fought to maintain our freedom. Attached is the resolution. We recommend that the Board of Trustees approve the resolution recognizing and honoring American veterans as presented.
All right, board, you've heard the recommendation, you've seen the resolution and had a chance to review it. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution? So moved. Motion made by Mr. Garcia. Seconded by Mr. Morales. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries 5-0. If I could
I will
ask
will
Dr.
read it.
Farah to read it, please.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Okay, whereas throughout the course of history, courageous men and women have taken up arms to secure, defend, and maintain the core principles upon which our nation's freedom depends. And whereas it is important to remember our veterans because of their great service to our community and our country. And whereas the future of our community, our families, our children and our great nation depends on the dedication and patriotism of all people who have served in our armed forces. And whereas on Veterans Day, we honor the heroes we have lost, and we rededicate ourselves to the next generation of veterans by supporting our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen as they return home from duty. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Kingsville Independent School District remembers throughout the month of November all of our veterans in American history who have defended our Constitution and have maintained freedom throughout the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Farron. All right, we move now to item 7B, discussion and possible action to appoint District of Innovation Committee. Dr. Patsy.
Okay, as we explained during the public hearing about the District of Innovation, at this time, we would like to recommend that the Board of Trustees of Kingsville ISD appoint a committee to develop a District of Innovation plan and appoint a committee. We would also like to consider the DEIC to be the committee, but at this time, we're recommending that a DOI committee be appointed.
Mr. President, would you notate the time of trustee Delma Salinas? She's not present with us.
Delma Salinas joined our meeting at 5:35 p.m.
Thanks, sir.
We are able to recommend some parameters, and so if you would want to consider, like we discussed during public hearing, the DEIC members to be the DOI committee, then I have provided you a list of the current DEIC members.
Personally, I think that these two, both DEIC and DOI kind of go hand in hand. And since we have an existing DEIC committee, I don't see anything wrong with appointing that as the DOI committee. I would think that would just make sense. And along those lines, I'll make that in the form of a motion that our existing 2022, 2023 DEIC members also make up our DOI committee that will be bringing back to this board the recommendations for the specific areas in which we should be considering adopting the District of Innovation parameters.
I'll second.
All right, so there's been a motion made by Mr. Kufal, seconded by was it Mr. Morales or Mr. Chopper? Any further discussion?
How often is this committee going to meet? Or
I think it would have to, like, the DEIC meets, they have 5 meetings this year, or they have 4 for sure scheduled. Right. I know when they're meeting for the instructional calendar, they meet more than the 4 times because we bring it back and bring it back. So that's going to kind of be driven by the committee to see, okay, let's schedule another time to meet another time. When I did meet with the DEIC committee a couple of weeks ago when we had a meeting, I said, start looking at plans. You can Google them. I mean, they're public, you know, if you're interested in learning more about districts of innovation. And even when I went to Gillette, I told them the same thing, start looking at plans. So it may be that the DOI committee says, well, we'd like to look at plans for alternate calendar. Or, you know, others may say we want to look for teacher certifications as an exemption. So we may say, all right, then our next meeting, let's just focus on calendars, you know.
I just think I'm all for it. But in looking at other districts, the committee's not as large. Like maybe there was like 4
Subcommittee of the DEIC.
Like maybe there was like 4 per campus was the administrator. The only thing, you know, is when you have a lot of people, it's harder to get it approved.
Right.
And so, I mean, I think the fewer, the better. Like that, you don't have to go back and forth, and it'll be easier for you to pass whatever. I mean,
Yes,
that
and
was
with-
just my,
With the DEIC, we do have a calendar committee, and then we do have like a budgeting committee and so forth, so maybe those subcommittees.
just because I
each
thought
look at
it has
those.
to be harder for you to try to get something. Up
I
there.
guess, yeah.
I mean, I don't know, I don't know how anybody else feels, but. It's a huge, the DEIC has a lot of members, and it's like. You need of those, you know,
And we,
I don't know.
we could say, choose members of the DEIC committee.
Do we choose them or do they choose them? Or-
or you choose them.
I would choose them, I guess, from the DEIC.
I just feel like the large committee is harder to get things done.
How would you recommend that we word it?
Yes, Mr. President, Board of Trustees, so you can authorize your superintendent to use her discretion in utilizing current and existing DEIC members to compile her DOI committee. Remember, we're not lumping this DOI committee into DEIC, they're two separate and distinct committees compiled the same people.
Right.
So we don't have to confine to the DEIC schedule necessarily, but it would be helpful to have that delegation and discretion and motion to your superintendent.
All right, I'm going to amend my motion then. I'm going to amend my motion to authorize the board, authorize the KISD superintendent to compose a DOI committee selecting the membership from the DEIC members and compose it in such a way in her discretion that it's representative of both the district in terms of teachers, administrators, parents, and or community. There's a second to that.
Second.
All right. So we killed the first motion just because. And so this motion again is to authorize the superintendent to create her committee from the existing DEIC members with the intent that hopefully it will be representative of all facets that are represented in the DEIC committee. Motion has been made and seconded. Any other discussion? If not, all those approved say yes.
Yes.
Any opposition? Motion carries 5-0. Item 6-0. Discussion, item 7C, discussion and possible action regarding purchases over 50,000. Dr. Pitts.
Thank you, Mr. Coupal. Dr. Pettis, members of the board. On June the 21st, we brought to you the need to replace some of the vehicles in our maintenance fleet. We brought pictures showing you the condition of all those vehicles, and it was a reporting item at that time, and we were charged to look for vehicles that would meet our needs and that would be affordable in the district's budget. And over the last couple of months, we have been searching diligently. We have been looking at local vendors. We have been looking at online purchasing co-ops to try to find the best value for the district. I'll let Matt Vanna talk a little bit about the process that was used and how we found the vehicles that we currently are taking to the board right now.
Good afternoon, board and Dr. Bettis. So as Dr. Pitts said, we've been looking into this for a long time now. The whole process kind of started last summer. Excuse me. Cars are hard to find. Everything's taking a long time to get built and everything's already bought. It kind of seems like, it seemed for a long time like we're never gonna find anything unless we kind of pull the trigger soon. But I guess I got that luck this year with the buses and these vehicles because I made a call out of the blue and there was about 100 pickups available. So as soon as I got that phone and got that quote, I called Dr. Pitts here and here we are. So I can answer any question you guys have about how I found them, I guess, you know, so.
Do you have to go to Silsbee to pick up this van?
No, but if we do go to Silsbee, it'll save us maybe $400 per vehicle.
I know where Silsbee is. Which is north of Beaumont. No, they're not volunteering, but
But you can,
it's on the way to the casino. Just for board information, this is one of the casualties of our change policy. We increased our threshold to 50,000, but prior to that, we were the unique district that had anything found on the buy board, didn't have to come and get prior board approval. And technically, 4 of these trucks are 36,000 apiece. They're technically under 50,000. And I suppose they could have done 4 separate purchase orders and been within policy. But our concern when this came up last week was specifically in this situation, if they don't act quickly, these could be gone. And there could be instances in which we have situations where funds need to be expended very quickly. They can't be, we don't have necessarily time to wait for a board meeting to come along. And so what we're probably going to do in the future on things such as this, during the budget process, I'd suggest that if you have to buy 6 Xerox machines or something, that you get prior approval from the board to get 6 Xerox machines and then kind of report the purchase price after the fact. And this, I commend y'all for continuing to look for it. And I think that the $36,000 a piece, yeah, heck of a deal. I mean, I'm surprised that you find a truck for that right now.
Let me add that these are brand new vehicles and we were having a hard time finding that type of price for used vehicles that had, 50, 60,000 miles on it. So we're getting the government rate on these vehicles, and the 4 pickup trucks are available now. The one van would not be available till the spring, but we can put our name on it right now if the board so approves it. So again, that's a really good price for a van as well too. But again, the credit goes to Matt. I mean, Matt, he really
He spends a lot of time researching.
he did, both locally and on the internet through purchasing co-ops. So we really appreciate the work that he does. Any other questions?
Quick question. So my thing is we did look around here. And nothing was able, no one was able to get us where we want to be at.
So we did look here. That's the first place we tried because we needed stuff now. And all we were hearing was, if you want something now, you gotta get what's on the lot. So the problem with that is they don't make work trucks for the general public. So we would have to be buying, I guess, XLTs or LTs.
So what's a work truck? Just help me out with
A
that.
work truck is just a basic pickup truck. It doesn't have leather seats. You don't get the heated anything or manual seats or anything like that. None of the perks that I want in my truck are in yours, which is fine. Because I mean, they're just for work purposes. So we did go out and we tried to get as close as we could. And the closest we can get was still about $12,000 off of what these trucks are. And that's for like something new. The bad part is the used vehicles are just as expensive as the new ones right now. So we actually did find one van that's comparable to the one that we're looking at now. And it was only like $4,000 less expensive. 2 years older, and I think it had like 60,000 miles. So it just made sense to go to try and go with the co-op.
So are these gonna be, we're gonna stick to the plan and they're gonna be maintenance vehicles only?
That is the plan. They're gonna replace some of the older maintenance vehicles that we brought to you guys in June.
Any other questions, comments? If not, do I have a motion to approve these purchases? Motion made by Mr. Chapman,
I'll second.
seconded by Ms. Salinas. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Any opposition? Motion carries 6-0. Item number 8, the board is now going to enter into closed session in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551.071 and 551.074 to deliberate and consider the following. A, discussion regarding personnel matters. B, consultation with legal counsel regarding pending legal matters. No action will be taken until we return to open session. We are entering closed session at 5:51 p.m.